All right, and welcome back to another case study, number 28 of this series, so brilliantly titled Kirk's 40 Case Study Closings. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk, and these case studies range from vacant lots to custom luxury homes and total $2,042,081.71 in profits and equity without having to personally go see the property. On some, and with no cash, no credit of my own, it varies, and I'll explain. I do it all with Flip Logic and 1-888 cash offer. Now let's get into number 28 of the 40 case studies. And that brings us to 1370 Sandpiper Lane in Corona, California. And I've got a graph of photos there of 9 photos. And if you lean in real close, you can see that that's not that old of a home. That's probably like a 1980s, maybe 1990s type home. And it's in pretty good shape. It's just very, very minor cosmetic. I'm talking minor. Like, this is truly just your carpet and paint. You know, that's it. We're not talking kitchen remodel, bathroom remodels, changing windows. We're not talking any of that major stuff that creates a large expense or middle of the road type rehab. This was very carpet and paint. So let's talk about it. The lead type, MLS, was a short sale. The origin, it came from an agent. How you could also duplicate this lead origination is, through Flip Logic. If you were to go to Instant Seller Leads and look at leads for sale by agent, you could have typed in the keyword short sale and that would have pulled this up. The property condition, as I said, very light cosmetic repair. Seller's motivation was to relocate. ARV came out to $475. The repairs, we put the repairs at $5 a square foot. So we put it at $10,000 for this property. I guess that was probably a 2,000 square foot home. So we put $5 a square foot, just $10,000, carpet, paint, that's it, you're done. Purchase price, we got this at $372, which was a really, really great price. We kept the ROI very thin for the investor because there was very little work here to do. And this investor was a buy and hold. They were going to use this as a rental. So law of reciprocity, hey, we pay all cash. Well, we always use the law of reciprocity. In this case, you can only do what the lender is ultimately going to give you an approval letter for. This was actually this was already an approved short sale, and if there was any type of short sale that you should stick to, it would be approved short sales, because short sales that need to start the approval process are a nightmare. They're a nightmare. If you don't have to process them, it's not a nightmare to you, but the wait and the unpredictability, it's unpredictable of what they're going to approve it for. So it doesn't matter what you get it into the contract at, because the lender, they could choose to approve it for whatever price that they want. They could choose to approve it at retail, and they are just not. You don't want to be in those situations. I've had a few, a few that have worked out really well, like this one. This one worked out well, and then I've had, a few. I can think of a few that I'm in right now that they just drag on and on for months, and you have no idea what they're going to approve them at. So, moral of the story: I would probably stick to approved short sales and stay away from the others. But that's just me. All right. So this was, again, 14-day close. Short sales, even with the short sale approval letter, this may have been longer. It may have been closer to 21 to 30 days. The investor came from they came from our marketing blast from an existing list of investors we already had. But how you could have added that investor to your list, or how we could have added them to our list, is by using the Flip Logic's the instant cash buyer leads to run a search by keywords and for that area, and do a marketing blast to investors in that area, cash buyers, landlords, real estate and home renovators. So we buy houses, those kinds of keywords. The investor paid $391. Our profit was $19,000. So good deal. And how we close this deal is we put it under purchase and sale agreement. And as you know, with the short sale, you can't assign it. You're going to either, number one, have to use funding to close on it. So then you can close, take title, and then resell next day to the buyer using two different escrows. Or to save closing costs and to save financing costs, you can also do what I did in this transaction, which is you have your purchase contract, and then you write up an addendum adding a co-buyer, which is your investor. So it's whatever it is, Investor Inc. to be added as a co-buyer. Number two, vesting to be you and Investor Inc. as tenants in common. That way, your investor can fund the whole transaction. You both close on title as tenants in common, and then you both have an agreement in place. And it can be an assignment agreement that you are going to give them a quitclaim deed in exchange for an assignment fee of, in this case, $19,000. And then you can go as far as putting it in a third-party holding escrow. So third-party holding escrow writes up escrow instructions that, hey, they're going to get a executed, notarized quitclaim deed from you to your investor, and that's going to be pre-executed, and it's going to be held there in that third-party escrow. So your investor feels all warm and fuzzy knowing that, as soon as this thing closes, they know you've already signed your release via the quitclaim deed, and it's being held in the neutral, third-party holding escrow. So then once, and then your investor, they wire their assignment fee over there too. So that third-party holding escrow is holding both those items for you and for the investor. And then the instruction is that third-party holding escrow is going to release the quitclaim deed for recording and the $19,000 assignment fee to you, or me in this case, when they have confirmation that your first escrow closed and recorded and you both are on title. Then she can that's her instruction to go ahead and settle that third-party holding escrow. Pretty slick, right? And that's going to save you, yes, while you're going to have like a $500 escrow fee with that escrow, it's going to save you, transfer fees, title, and it's also going to save you financing costs from using any financing or funding. So you're going to save a couple $1,000. So not a bad idea, and you can do that with short sales and REOs. Cool. Let's talk about cash. Did I use any cash for a deposit? No. This transaction, no cash, because again, when you market the deal, I usually use a 5 business days on when my deposit is due. So it gives me, again, 7 calendar days. Typically, I can find an investor for a property, and typically you should be able to also too, with these same tools, be able to find an investor, within 24, 48, 72 hours, right? They should be able to head over there within the next, within that time frame or the next day. They should be able to have a decision for you by the end of that business day, which in this case, if it took you 72 hours to get somebody over there, they should be able to have a decision for you at the end of that day, if not the next day. So that's 5 days. So you should be more than fine and not even have to wire a deposit. If you do go over that time frame because for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason may be, but if you go over that time frame and you need to wire a deposit, then you got to wire a deposit. But if you can get it marketed and sold and have an investor give you their non-contingent price. They're ready to move forward. Wire a non-refundable deposit. You give them the assignment wire instructions. They wire their deposit in lieu of yours, and you would never have had to wire a deposit. So you literally have $0 in the deal, and then you just let the escrow know to change the vesting from you to them, and to add on to the buyer settlement statement the assignment fee and the amount of whatever you agreed upon in that assignment agreement. Cool. And as far as having to go see this property, yes, if the owner is there, if the owner occupant is there, you definitely want to be there or have somebody from your team there, as to prevent the investor, your cash buyer, and the seller from, again, fraternizing, talking, or discussing any terms. So you never want that. You always want to keep that arm's length. And that's it. I hope that was helpful. Statistically, only 10% of YouTube videos are watched until the end. So if you're in that 10%, you're a hustler, persistent, determined to succeed. And I do wish you much success. So thanks for watching. I look forward to working with you.